400 years ago, the Guna Indians left the mountains of northern Colombia, driven away by the advancing conquistadors. They sought refuge on a string of islands in the Caribbean Sea. These land dwellers were forced to turn to the sea to safeguard their way of life and their culture. All my life, I've sailed the seas. My journeys have taught me that the ocean is an inexhaustible source of knowledge. Together, we'll meet people who forge a bond between land and sea, people who share my passion for the ocean. Yala, land of the Guna. Nestling in the foothills of the Darien, this territory stretches for almost 200 kilometers along the Isthmus of Panama, composed of a wide strip of land and an archipelago of some 400 coral islands, home to many villages. To move between the islands, the Guna use 4 or 5 meter long canoes called ulus, cut from the trunk of a hardwood tree. Sailing the seas on these narrow boats is a real exercise in balance. The ulus have neither rudder nor centerboard. Their sails are a patchwork of fabrics held up by a sprit. I don't know how Leo manages to steer and stay on course. It's surprising how quickly it lists.
It's not easy at first. I've been sailing since I was a kid. My grandfather taught me all I know. The secret is to have perfect balance. When the wind is strong, you have to use your body as a balancing pole, keeping your oar like this. Then when there is a change of wind, you lift your oar out.
We head for El Tigre, a tiny island that's a 2-day sail away from the nearest road, where Leo lives with his wife and daughter. It is one of the 38 inhabited islands on the Guna Yala archipelago. Isolated and protected by the ocean and mountains, the inhabitants of El Tigre have preserved the lifestyle and identity of their people. Like all new arrivals on the island, I have to go to greet the Sila, the traditional village chief.
Do it this way.
A long time ago, our ancestors lived in the mountains. Then, when the conquistadors arrived, they had to flee. They discovered the islands, but there was nothing to eat or drink. Pugadup, who created the world as it is, told them that they could settle here and that he would provide everything they need.
I'd like to know what the sea represents for you, and especially what it gives you.
El mar
The sea is very important to us. Each member of our community must have a canoe, a sail, nets, everything you need to go fishing. We love the sea. It's like a grandmother to us. So that's what we call it. She takes care of us and provides everything we need.
So for you, the sea is an earth mother. Does the sea have any other dimensions for you?
The sea belongs to the Guna. It was given to us by Bugadup, the one who created the world, because nature is ours, and we have to look after it. When we fish, if we bring back a good catch, we have to share it with the whole community. Nobody owns the sea. She is the wealth of all the Guna.
To go fishing, the inhabitants of El Tigre have only to open their door. Sheltered from the wind, between the island and the mainland, the warm waters of the lagoon are teeming with fish. Using just a nylon wire and a hook, food can be caught as long as you have the knack.
When the bait is at the bottom, the fish come along to eat. You listen, and you can sense it. 1, 2, 3, and you bring it up. This is a technique my grandfather taught me.
It's vibrating. Great. It's a nice one, too. It's small.
It has a beautiful color. In Guna, we call it Yala. It's very nourishing. We have all kinds, big ones, small ones. This one is small because it lives in the reef. See the white part over there?
The white foam.
Yes, that's the coral reef.
Okay.
It's a barrier. It acts like a wall. The water swirls a lot here. It's a favorite spot for fishermen, with lots of fish, lobster, and octopus.
But the residents of El Tigre could not survive without the nearby mainland. Every day, braving the swamps, men, women, and children head for the mainland. This is where they draw fresh water, grow fruit and vegetables, hunt game, and cut wood. It's very different from the sea here. Much quieter. Everything is still. How do you know when the water becomes fresh?
I just taste it. It's still salty here. Upstream, it should be better.
It's still salty here?
Yes.
We enter a huge forest, which seems to quite literally drag us in. This is one of Central America's last primary forests. The Guna call it the Bonigana, the spirit sanctuary.
Oh, disculpe, te llamé. Esta planta nos protege.
This plant will protect us from evil spirits.
Yeah, okay.
Before entering the forest, you protect yourself against the spirits?
Yes, and everything you find in the forest, everything Mother Earth offers us, serves to protect us.
The people of El Tigre practice slash-and-burn agriculture. First, areas of forest are cleared, then burned to fertilize the soil. It's a form of subsistence farming that produces rice, bananas, yams, and especially cassava, which is a staple of the Guna diet.
Llegamos a la siembra de
We've
yuca.
reached the plantation.
This
This is cassava. We need to dig at the root.
So each branch has a tuber.
Ahí va, okay. Cada cosecha
Once you've removed everything, you replant the small pieces.
lo siembras. ¿Sí? Y así sucesivamente.
And so forth.
Cada uno
Everyone replants so that we don't end up without cassava.
sin yuca. No mucho,
I don't take too much because it's only for me. Tomorrow other people from the village will come. That's why it's important to replant.
The Guna follow the cycles of nature. Plots are cultivated, then left fallow according to a set of very specific rules, which allow the forest to regenerate. So, are you a people of the sea or a people of the land?
Nosotros somos de la tierra,
We are land people,
pero
but we have learned to live with the sea.
con el mar. Porque de aquí, como
It is too dangerous to stay here all the time,
no, y hay-
with all the mosquitoes, bees, snakes, and crocodiles.
Por eso, la vida en la isla es mejor.
That's why it's better to live on the island.
A la tierra firme, a la madre
But we must still return to the mainland, to Mother Earth, to gather food.
el coco, la naturaleza que
Cassava, mangoes, coconuts.
es parte de nosotros.
The nature around us is part of
Mejor
us.
es la isla. Pero mucho mejor.
Life on the island is better, but the mainland is indispensable.
Dios nos hizo
God
eso.
gave us all this.
El Tigre has long been an autarky, almost cut off from the world. The development of tourism and exchanges with neighboring Colombia have gradually transformed the daily life of the inhabitants. Traditional houses made from palm and bamboo are gradually being replaced by cinder block constructions. Electricity, telephone, and television have entered people's homes. Leo lives with his wife and daughter in a traditional hut with no water or electricity.
Ta fille?
Your daughter is almost the same age as mine.
Âge que la mienne.
Did you build the whole house?
Toute la maison?
La vida acá
Life is simple here.
es muy sencilla. No. Quiere construir una
If you want to build a house, you go to the village assembly and make a request.
Esto, construí con unos
I built this one with friends.
mis amigos me ayudaron.
They helped me get everything.
Todo eso. Hicimos,
Then we built it in 2 or 3 days. It's all about unity, and it endures.
En me déplaçant dans le village,
Walking around the village, I noticed that nothing is locked up.
c'est que rien n'est fermé.
Y acá la casa es sencilla.
The houses here are simple.
Porque
They have no doors because in this community, everyone knows everyone else. Everyone is related, so there's no need for doors. I like it that way.
o qué sé yo, pero por eso a mí me gusta.
Look, my kitchen has no walls.
C'est cette solidarité
Has that solidarity helped maintain this way of life through the centuries?
siècle.
La solidaridad acá lo que
We have a very strong sense of solidarity here.
y la unidad. Tengo confianza.
I believe strongly in the passing on of a tradition.
Mantenemos, porque
If every father teaches his children and gives them advice, they will grow up with it.
siempre va a seguir con los consejos de sus padres.
That's how the tradition of my ancestors has been maintained.
Tradición de mis ancestros.
Community life plays an important role in the everyday life of the Guna. It is governed by the Congreso, the village assembly. In the center are the Silas, sitting in their hammocks, singing poems in Yaka, a language only they understand. It is a moment of communion and meditation that unites the Guna around their stories and the spirits that protect them. Not until after nightfall are decisions on community life taken. This morning, the village streets are beneath water. A storm blew up during the night and overwhelmed the island. El Tigre barely breaks the surface of the sea, and its beaches offer no protection against an onslaught from the waves. To protect themselves, the islanders try to prevent erosion by planting trees.
Looking back over my 74 years, I've seen many changes. The most important thing is the rise in the sea level. When the tidal coefficient is high, the village is totally flooded. That never used to be the case. The islands are simply disappearing. Look at this coconut tree. It's about to fall down. There are no more roots.
They're all cut.
Yes, the waves eat away at the earth and roots. Before very long, the tree will fall.
Do you have an explanation for these changes?
The behavior of man has changed, at least with regard to Guna tradition and culture. Today, there are many fishermen, but they flout tradition. For example, we've always fished for lobster, but we would take only 2 or 3. Nowadays, men no longer believe in God. They think they can do as they please. God sees them, and soon, men will be punished. That's the cultural explanation in any case. Personally, I believe more in scientific explanations. We're destroying the entire ecosystem. Rivers, tides, winds, everything is being changed by human activities.
You are blaming mankind, but could it be the fault of the Guna too?
Exactly. The Guna are part of humanity. So, we do not escape this reality. As humans, we also contribute to destroying the ecosystem, because we too are guilty of negative activities that harm the environment.
Have you seen any islands disappear?
One island is suffering terrible erosion problems. It used to be large, but is visibly reduced in size. Sooner or later, it's bound to disappear altogether.
The offshore islands are also the most endangered. Although mostly uninhabited, they play an important economic role. Each Guna family has land on these islands covered with coconut trees. For many of them, harvesting and selling coconuts is their sole income. It's blowing hard here. It's really windy compared to the other side.
These are the trade winds. This is the last island of the archipelago. There are no more after this one.
Antes, esa isla
Pirates used to land here.
los piratas. Acá los habitantes son
Today, locals come to collect coconuts.
recolectar cocos. Un coco. No
It's
tiene
not
sonido.
making any noise,
No.
meaning it's bad.
No, no está bien. Vamos a
We'll look
buscar
for others.
otro. Aquí hay otro coco.
There are others here.
Vamos a ver.
That's an old one.
Es.
This one is fine.
Sí. No, no.
I'm used to making knots all day, like sailors do.
Une habitude.
See, my handbag.
Voilà.
Nice, don't you
Sac
think?
à main.
No, 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 no.
No, no.
That belongs to another family.
Eso no
We can't
podemos
take it.
cogerlo.
Mais comment
How do you know the difference?
la différence?
Mi abuelo me enseñó.
My grandfather taught me.
Aquí es tu
This is
parcela,
your plot.
es de
It
la
belongs to
familia.
your family.
Aquí es otra
This is
familia.
another
No
family's,
podemos.
so we cannot pick them.
Sí. Hay que
We must
respetar
respect other families.
Et là, toutes
So we can't touch any of those. They're beautiful.
la finca.
Each plot is delineated, passed on from generation to generation.
Esto de parte de mi familia.
This one belongs to my family.
Puede haber
5 of us
cinco
share it.
cabezas, 5 jefes.
That's why we don't climb the trees.
Nosotros no subimos. Para la familia,
If I
si-
go
si
up
yo
and take them
subo,
all,
cojo todo,
you'll come along and say,
vienes, ¿dónde está el coco?
"Where are all the
Hay que
coconuts?"
esperar que caiga. Si subo,
So we wait until they fall, otherwise there'll be none left.
ya. Vamos.
Let's go.
Ese es mi campo.
This is my camp,
Campo de la
the
familia.
family's camp.
Have you always lived here?
No.
No, I used to live in Panama.
En Panamá.
I worked there for 8 years.
8 años.
One day I
Decidí
decided to come back to my village.
regresar por mi pueblo, porque la sangre lo llevo aquí.
When I was at work there, I kept thinking about my village. It was always in my heart.
Pienso en mi pueblo.
In Panama,
En Panamá es
life is different.
7 de la mañana, el jefe te
At
dice,
7 a.m., your boss tells you to come to work.
tiene que trabajar. Siento como estoy
I
en
felt like
cárcel.
I was in
Siento que
prison,
no hay libertad.
as if I had no freedom.
Acá es diferente.
Here it's different.
Puedes llegar a la isla,
You can come to the island, fish,
esperar el coco,
collect coconuts,
casi
get up whenever you want.
no temprano, a qué hora quieres levantar. No, aquí
Here, you're free.
Moi, je fais
I
souvent
often sail solo, and there's a side of that in the life here, in the islands, with the sand boats.
de bateaux de sable, de vaisseaux de sable.
Do you like the solitary nature of things here?
Cette solitude qu'il y a ici aussi.
sí me
Yes
sí me gusta,
and
pero
no.
La familia y otras familias
Family is important to the Guna,
para nosotros, para-
both our own and everyone else's.
no es que
We don't live alone.
sino es de las familias, los cocos, la isla.
I don't think solitude suits us
La
well.
soledad no
We
creo que
prefer family life.
va conmigo, sino la familia.
Est-ce que de temps en temps,
Do you ever
tu as
feel
envie
like
de
taking your canoe and heading out to sea?
de partir loin?
Sí, me gustaría.
Yes, I'd love to do that.
Llevarlo todo.
And
Como
take
mi
everything
ulu
with
es muy
me.
pequeño, no puedo
But my
cargar.
ulu is very small, so I
Pero me
couldn't take
gustaría ir
much.
lejos,
But yes, I'd love to travel around the world, like you, with my ulu, of course.
pero en mi ulu.
En houlo?
In an ulu. Now that would be something.
C'est pas mal.